Bing Crosby remains a beloved figure in popular culture decades after his death. But to his family, Bing was much more than just a crooner and film star. The legendary figure was married 2 times and had 7 children. Sadly, many of these children went on to lead tragic lives. Join Facts First as we explore how Bing Crosby got busy with 2 wives and 7 children. There are few figures in popular culture more wholesome on the surface than the late Bing Crosby, whose Christmas songs are still played every holiday season by families around the world. Though Bing's legacy in the entertainment industry has helped bring families together, the actor didn't have an easy time keeping his own family together before his death in 1977. Bing was married twice, and the first of these marriages ended in tragedy after his first wife passed away. Bing Crosby had several children with his first wife, and most of these kids went on to lead tragic lives as well. 2 of them committed suicide. Bing married his first wife in 1930. She was a nightclub singer named Dixie Lee. They remained happily married for over 2 decades before she tragically passed away from ovarian cancer in 1952. During this time, they had 4 children. Gary Crosby was Bing's first kid. Gary Crosby was born in the summer of 1933. Bing groomed his first child in his own image. The young boy was named after Gary Cooper, who had been a friend of his father's. The first time Gary appeared on screen was in 1942's Star-Spangled Banner. At the time, Gary was only 9. Despite being ushered into Hollywood stardom at the behest of his father, Gary decided he still wanted to pursue an education. He attended Stanford University and graduated before resuming his Hollywood career. During the 1940s, Gary began performing alongside his 3 siblings. Together, they formed a group called the Crosby Boys. Gary also worked with his father on a couple songs, including Play a Simple Melody. Given how well Bing and his first son worked professionally, many have falsely assumed they had a close relationship, but behind closed doors it was much more turbulent. Gary alleged after his father's death that Bing had been physically abusive towards him. Gary's younger siblings substantiated these claims, though they seemed to have rationalized their father's beatings as being the star's unique brand of corporal punishment. Given that Gary was the child Bing was the most adamant about making a star, it seems Gary received a bit more physical abuse than his siblings. Gary claimed that his father would carefully watch his weight as he was growing up and would cane him if he gained just an extra pound. Gary was the second Crosby kid to die. Before Gary's death, many of his younger siblings suggested he had come up with his stories about Bing Crosby's abuse to sell copies of his autobiography. There may be some truth to this, but it's also undeniable that Bing crossed the line with his eldest sons numerous times as they grew up. All of the other children Bing had with his first wife agreed their father could be physically abusive. Those were twins Philip and Dennis, as well as youngest son Lindsay. Gary Crosby was the second of the Crosby kids to pass after the suicide of 4th child Lindsay in 1989. Gary passed away in 1995 of lung cancer. He was 62. He'd been married 3 times and had 1 son. But of the 4 children Bing had with his first wife, Gary's life was undeniably the least tragic. Before we tell you more, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Did the Crosby twins suffer from fetal alcohol syndrome? After Bing and his first wife had Gary in 1933, they had a pair of twins named Philip and Dennis in the summer of 1934. There are numerous people that allege Philip and Dennis suffered from fetal alcohol syndrome. It seems Dixie Lee was an alcoholic, which is something Bing may or may not have known. Everyone agreed that Philip was the good twin and Dennis was the evil twin. Like Gary before them, both Philip and Dennis were ushered into the entertainment industry by their father, but neither found as much success as their older sibling. As an adult, Philip decided to enroll in the Army in the 1950s. Upon returning from service, he attended Washington State University and became a fairly successful college football player. He went on to settle down and have a family. He also gave Bing 4 grandchildren. Philip passed away from a heart attack in early 2004 at age 69. Before his death, Philip defended his late father against the posthumous accusations that had been brought by Gary, saying their father never hit any of them more than they deserved. As the bad twin, Dennis was not so successful in his life. He had 4 failed marriages over the course of his life and had several children, but he remained estranged from them in the years leading up to his suicide in the early 1990s. Both Dennis and Lindsay Crosby committed suicide. Towards the end of his life, the only of his siblings that Dennis maintained a positive relationship with was Lindsay. After Lindsay took his own life in 1989, Dennis quickly followed suit. That happened in 1991 when Dennis was 56. Thankfully, Bing was no longer around to witness the tragic suicides of 2 of his children. Lindsay was the final child born during Bing's first marriage. He was born in 1938, and his life is arguably the most tragic of the 7 kids. Like his 3 elder siblings, Lindsay made up a part of the popular singing group the Crosby Boys. In fact, it was his 1962 nervous breakdown that caused the group to come to an end for good. Over the course of his life, Lindsay married and divorced 3 times and had 5 children. Both Lindsay and Dennis sank into severe depression and alcoholism over the course of their lives as a result of failed marriages. They also both suffered from significant financial problems, particularly after the death of their father. When Lindsay took his own life in 1989, he became the first of the Crosby kids to pass away. Bing Crosby dated around for a bit before marrying second wife Katharine Grant, an aspiring actress. The 2 married in 1957 and remained married until Bing's 1977 death. They had 3 children. When the first of these 3 children came, Bing made a pledge to himself that he'd try harder than he did with his first 4 children. Because of this, the children Bing had with his second wife have gone on to have much less disturbed lives than the ones he had with his first. Bing tried harder during his second marriage. The first child Bing had with his second wife was named Harry, and he was born in August of 1958. Though Harry was ushered into the entertainment industry like his elder step-siblings, his father never physically abused him. As an adult, he earned a master's degree at Fordham University. Today, he works in investment banking. Before his father's death, Harry had a close relationship with Bing, and the 2 often performed together on stage as singers. It seems Harry had a voice much like his father's. In 1959, Bing's only daughter was born, Mary Crosby, who has become somewhat successful in the acting world in the decades since her father's death. Though she has no big roles to her name, she's been a reliable presence on television over the years. Her most iconic role came via the primetime soap opera Dallas. The youngest of the Crosby kids is Nathaniel Crosby, born in 1962. Nathaniel alleges that although his father never physically abused him, he would make him perform physical labor as a child, so he learned the meaning of hard work. Now it's time to hear from you. Did you know about the tragic lives of some of Bing Crosby's kids? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.